Okay, I'm speaking with N.G. Brown, the author of Blue Max Missions and Memories. Mr. Brown was a helicopter pilot during the Vietnam War. Uh, Mr. Brown, when I was reading this book, one of the things that I found very interesting was when you talked about the radio communication system in Vietnam. You talked about specifically that you gave a comparison in the book that I'd like to just real briefly read over and then have you kind of discuss it a little bit. Comparison of how there was the textbook method of communicating on the radio and then what actually developed in the field. So, according to...
Let me say something about that first.
Sure.
You know, being a warrant officer and going to Vietnam before I had any schooling in artillery, I learned the Vietnam War scenario before I learned the school approach. So I thought the way we did it in Vietnam was the right way.
Oh, really? How interesting. Because there's quite a difference. When you gave a very nice comparison in the book that I'd just like to real briefly read, because I thought it was just fascinating to look at the difference in the communication, between what's the what you get in formal training. So I guess the correct procedure, if with radio communication, might be something like this. Hypothetically, you might start out a transmission, and it would say something like Red Leg 1-8. This is Red Leg 2-4. Fire mission over. Red Leg 2-4. This is Red Leg 1-8. Fire mission out. Grid Lima Delta 4356 over. Grid Lima Delta 4356 out. Niner 765 over. Niner 765 out. Trucks and infantry on a road over. Trucks and infantry on a road out. VT in effect, adjust fire over. And in the book you mentioned that VT, it means variable time fuse. VT in effect, adjust fire out. Request splash over. Request splash, roger. Wait, shot over, shot out, splash over. And that's quite a procedure, it looks like, to go through all of this. And then you gave an example of how that same transmission might actually be in Vietnam, how it would actually be used in the field. The same information being conveyed, but how it actually would be said. And I just thought this was interesting. Maybe I'll just read it real quickly if it'd be all right with you.
Sure.
So the same mission is conducted in Vietnam. You'd have a transmission that might go something like this. Birth Control 8, this is Blue Max 69er Quebec 1, fire mission over. This is 8, send it. I have trucks and troops on a road at Lima Delta 4356. Niner 765, VT in effect, adjust fire, over. Roger, wait, rounds on the way. Do you want splash? Roger, splash. Much faster, much more compact. Could you just tell us a little bit about that? I thought that was very interesting.
Well, one thing about the Vietnam War method, usually you were in a very tense situation, maybe a lot of stuff going on, and everybody's voice was about one octave higher than it normally is. So it was Birth Control 8, Blue Max 69er Quebec 1, fire mission over. You know.
I see. I couldn't accurately portray that, but yes. So
it went very quickly.
Very quickly.
You could have rounds on the way in a minute and a half.
Really, a minute and a half. Boy, that's fast. That's very fast. And I mean, did it in terms of your training? You said that you learned in Vietnam. Can you tell us a little bit about the radio communications training you got and your experience with that? What was effective? What wasn't?
Okay, most of the training we got in communications was when we were sitting in the right seat in the Huey, and the guy in the left seat had been there a lot longer than we had. And we just listened to everything he said, and tried to emulate.
Uh,
And that's basically how it came about. And by the time you were there, 3 months or something like that, when you were in a position to become an aircraft commander, you know, you had been doing a lot of the radio commo yourself, and so final deal, you know, before you become an aircraft commander was a check ride, you know, to make sure you're ready. And when they did that, they had you doing all the commo, and so you know you had to pretty much have it figured out before you could get signed off.
Very interesting. I thought that was one of the things that was so neat to kind of compare